Hi everyone, welcome to Communication 2025. I'm Jim McDaniel. I will be your speech instructor for the next 7 weeks. And today is March 23rd. And it's the first time I've ever done this. First time I've done a Facebook Live broadcast. Actually, this is my 10th attempt to do this one video. But I'm going to be making at least 17 to 20 of these in order to give you explanations of the different activities, assignments that you will have to do the next 7 weeks. So first, let me tell you a little about myself. I'm the Director of Student Enrollment and Recruitment. I've been at Roane State for 22 years. The adjunct speech instructor has been my part-time job since fall of 2013, and you're actually my 53rd class, but my first online class. However, as I usually tell most of my students, I know that most students are very nervous. They don't want to take speech, and that's understandable. I've been very nervous about actually talking in front of a live camera. Now, what we're going to do is I'm going to go through some of the expectations of this course, what I'm looking for. And first thing, just to let you know, is that we're all in this together. I know a lot of you may just be your first college class. It may be your first online class. You're very nervous. I am as well. But you know what? We're all going to do great. This is a step-by-step process. Now, I've sent all of you a packet of information. I mailed it out on Thursday, so hopefully you received it at least by Saturday, or you will receive it by Monday afternoon. I encourage you to go through each of the assignments. Typically what I do the first day of class is I hand out the syllabus, speech assignments, the speech critique, the outline, the example, and go through all of that. So what I'm going to do now is actually go through videos, break every one of these down of what I'm looking for, and give you examples. So first thing is, the best way to reach me is by email. That's McDaniel, McDaniel, at roanestate.edu. Is actually located on the first page of your syllabus. Now, I will also be emailing you through Momentum and RadarNet, my cell number. So that is my personal cell number, but I feel like I want to give each of you the opportunity if you have questions, any clarifications. So email me first, or you can text me. Prefer no phone calls be between 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. And but I'm trying to think of any way I can help you be successful in this class. And I believe all of you will do great. As I've told most of my classes, I've actually had 3 classes that everyone earned an A. Now, that doesn't mean that was an easy A. They had to work. They had to practice a lot. They had to complete the assignments on time. And basically, if you do that, I believe every one of you will do great in my class. Like I said, we're all in this together. One thing I need to stress is all communication, I need you to email me through Momentum. Now, if you have not done so already, I need you to log into your RadarNet. Actually, these emails are embedded in Momentum, so you have to log into your Momentum account to view these. So, now each of these assignments, I'm losing my thought real quickly. But I need you to check your Momentum account every day. And I probably need you to work on some of these assignments every day. Within Momentum, you're going to have several areas that you need to look at. The first one is under course materials is content. Within the content, has a link to all the course materials where you can actually look at your syllabus and everything that I handed out to you. And also by week 1 through 5, there are readings that you need to do. And each of those readings, I encourage you to at least week 1 and week 2 do sooner than later. And then after you've done your first taping of your first speech, then I'd recommend you go back through and look at those again. Now, the second area is under the communication. It lists the class list. I encourage you each to email each other, get to know each other. Like I said, all of you are in this together. I'd encourage you to, really to encourage one another. All of you are nervous. All of you are really very apprehensive, barely of taking a class speech, but just let alone videotaping it and sending it in. Now, each of you are going to have the opportunity to critique these yourself and add comments. But my key thing with you all is I want you to encourage one another. I want you to work as a class. I want you to build each other up like the little engine that could. I think I can. I think I can. I know you can. So that's my purpose in all these, is to encourage you. Like I said, email me. If you have questions, we'll work them out. None of this will be easy, but it's very doable, and we'll do great. Under the communication is the discussion box. I have put several things in the discussion block, and I have broken them up by weeks. Under week 1, there are 2 assignments that you need to do this week. The first one is the attendance reporting activity. Typically, the first day of class, after it's over, I go in and I, of course, do roll, and I have to report who has attended for financial aid purposes. However, on an online class, it's done a little differently. I have to have you do an activity, and that completing that activity is your course attendance. If you do not submit it in, that can affect your financial aid for this semester and moving forward. So it's important that you complete that activity. Now, that activity pretty much is you're going to click on a thread under week 1 and reply to my post. And you'll see this post basically as stating, I know you're apprehensive about learning online. What do you feel, what do you think will make you feel more comfortable video and uploading your speeches as opposed to talking them online in front of each other live? What's your experience in creating, uploading YouTube videos, and other information like that. So the nice thing is I look at, probably to your benefit, is if you do the speech all live, you get one shot. However, by videotaping these, you can videotape yourself 1, 2, 3 times. I wouldn't videotape myself more than 3 or 4 times. I would probably recommend you, if you can, have someone videotape you instead of trying to do the selfie, because you are going to have to do visual aids and everything. And I would recommend, it may be hard to give direct eye contact, but what I would recommend is talk talk to the camera, but talk to an audience, visualize people around the camera and talk to them. There are other things that I tell students to do in my speech class is, a lot of speaking in front of when you do the readings, you'll find out that it's common sense stuff that you already know, but put in the context of speaking in front of others. So, it's going to be like on me right now. I'm trying to remember to slow down, breathe, smile, just a lot of common sense things. You can use note cards. However, probably, because I want you to work on your eye contact. If you use note cards, especially videotaping, you're going to be obviously reading and not looking at your audience. So you're going to probably need to practice 10 times or so, try to memorize a lot of your speech. Now, the other area is the drop box, and that's going to be important. That's where you're going to drop materials and everything into it. And there is actually an assignment that will be due, I think it's by the 26th or so of this week, and that is, you're going to give me ideas for your speech topics. Your first one that you're due next week is pretty easy, I believe, and I'll have another video going in more detail on it. But you're going to go through, you're going to introduce yourself. Typically, I've always had you break you into groups to interview a classmate, but since everyone's doing these online, I'm going to have you introduce yourself. The second speech is personal experience. You're going to tell us about a story on yourself. And then you're going to demonstrate something for speech number 3. So everything you're going to do, all 6 speeches, 5 speeches are about you and things that should interest you. And I do that because I want you to work on the techniques of speaking in front of others, not the material itself. So if you're talking on something you know, usually your eye contact, your facial expressions, your tone, if you're interested in it, we're going to be more interested in it. And that to me is a part of the success of a speech. If you're not interested and you don't care, your audience is going to read that and they're not going to care. So, what I want you to do, that first assignment is I want you to read through the syllabus and read through every speech that you're going to be giving and write down ideas. What I want you to do is a pretty basic Dropbox entry. I want you, under personal experience, tell me something like my trip to the beach, or my biggest pet peeve, or my biggest fear, or what, something about you. And it's a 3 to 5 minutes. The second, then you're going to proceed to the next one would be demonstrative. I'm going to make cookies, or I'm going to show you how to change a tire in a car. Something like that. Like I said, I'll have more details on those later. Then informative, you're going to just inform us about something. And then persuasive. So there's 4 speeches. So you're really just going to list, for example, for me, personal experience, working at Disney World. My second one, demonstrate, would be how to make brownies or cookies. Informative, I probably would have done something like Disney or Walt Disney, or I could about the history of Tennessee, University of Tennessee, the college. Or persuasive, I want to persuade everyone to drink water for a month. So you're just going to list those. Now you can change your idea, but the key thing is that you're going to submit those within the Dropbox. And that's first and foremost, so I can know that you know how to use the Dropbox correctly. Now let's go back to the discussion. Within the discussion, you have another activity to do Friday, which you're going to just videotape yourself like I'm doing now. You're going to tell the class your name. You're going to tell 5 unique qualities about yourself. For example, like for me, it'd be I have blue eyes, graduated from the University of Tennessee twice, I worked at Disney World twice, I drive a Jeep, and love UT basketball, football, UT sports. So those are 5 things about me. And then you're going to also just, and I think there's something else, I'm trying to look what else, but that's typically, what do you want to be when you grow up? Those are and then I want you to submit that, and then I want each of you to watch all of those, if you can, and reply to a couple of those. Just comment on those. That way I know how to use the reply button, because what you're going to do on your videos, for each speech under the head, you're going to videotape yourself. Like I said, you can tape yourself up 3 or 4 times, choose the best one, and then you're going to submit those. And then I'm dividing you into groups, except for the first one on the introductory speech. I want you to watch all of them, because that's your audience analysis, which is one of your readings. It'll tell you to analyze your audience. So I figure that's the best way, is to get to see all the introductions from your classmates, to learn a little more about them. So then you're going to prepare your speeches, and you're going to submit those in the discussion for each area thread. And then what you're going to do is you're going to watch those, and then I want you to reply to at least 3. So you'll see more instructions on those later. But also, when I mentioned about talking on something you know, then what I want you to do is think of your audience. Think if it's something they would be interested in, because if they're not interested in it, then you're going to lose your audience. You don't want to lose your audience. And it's sort of hard on this one, because in class you see the response and everything else, and these of course are all taped. Now I encourage, like I said, each of you to email each other and say, "Hey, you did a great job on this," and also provide some feedback, like you spoke too fast. Anything like that. The key is I want you to encourage and support one another. And that'll be a message I'll probably communicate in all of my videos. Let's see. Also, let's go back to I want to go through the handout. I will go through the syllabus details on that, and then also go through the handout for all the speeches. Speech critiques, I will cover that one. I'll have you do 4 different speech critiques. And I feel like that helps you as well, especially when you're practicing, you start catching things you need to work on. So that'll be important there. But I'm picking on those. You're going to see it says 12 font, two full pages. I do look at that. I want you to summarize each one of those and answer every question. But that's something that Mr. McDaniel requires, is for you to follow directions and submit everything the way I want it. Now, the other one is an outline. You'll see that you have outlines you have to submit in the Dropbox. We'll go back to speech critiques. You will submit those into the Dropbox as well, so the dates of those are listed. And then the other thing you will have to put into the Dropbox is require outlines for the demonstrative, informative, and persuasive. Now, those are due several days before you actually do your videotape. And I do that to make sure to see if you had that you've got some of the work created on this. I have found out if I don't require that, my procrastinators will wait till the last minute probably and finish it up in 30 minutes before the speech class and then briefly practice. However, I found out, and the response I've gotten from my students is that by having you submit it early, you can always tweak it later, but you're fine-tune your outline. But it's sort of in the way, the example I've given you an example of how I want you to do the outline. You're going to do 4 to 5 sentences for the introduction. You're going to use Roman numerals and subpoints and everything, and spacing, all the example I've given you is how I want you to do the outline. And then it has a conclusion section there with 4 to 5 sentences. And typically that's how you're going to do your speech. You're always going to introduce yourself in your speech, tell the class who you are and what you're going to talk on. And then I consider the outline a roadmap for your speech. And then you're going to always wrap it up and saying, like, in closing and conclusion, and finish your speech. Now, these are timed, and I'll go through more detail on that as well. But you're going to submit those outlines. Now, I'm picking on the date when they're due. You need to submit them by 11:59. I'd recommend that you turn them in earlier than that in case the internet's down or you have a problem uploading the video. So do not wait till the last minute, because if you submit it later, I will take it, but you've lost 30 points. The nice thing about everything that's on Momentum, Dropbox and everything is open. So, for example, this coming weekend, if you want to do all 4 speech critiques and submit those, if you want to go ahead and work on your outlines early and get those turned in, that gives me a chance to review them, and then I can see if there's something that you've done wrong. I could email you back and say, hey, could you work on this? And then resubmit it before the deadline. If you do that, then I don't take off points for leaving anything off. For example, like I said, you have to do an outline for demonstrative, informative, and persuasive speeches. However, you also have to do citations for informative and persuasive. And sometimes my students will leave those off. And if you submit it early, then I can remind you of that. Because if you submit your outline without your citations, then you lose 10 points. If you submit them and not in MLA format, which is the format, and I'll go through that in another video as well, then you can lose points. So it's going to be very important. And also the speech critiques, if you don't submit those, you lose points. So I'm a point-driven instructor. We'll go through in the syllabus, the grades, and everything. I'm seeing that I'm approaching 19 minutes on this video, and it ends in 20. So what I'll do is wrap it up. I'm looking forward to working with each of you. Like I said, everyone's going to do great in this class. This is the first for all of us, and I'm confident that everyone will do awesome. All right, I'll talk to you in another video. Thanks.